Learning Kung Fu is a never-ending process. No matter how much time, effort, and energy you put into perfecting your craft, there are always new techniques, new chapters of history to explore. In this Wing Chun Blast special feature, we'll meet two lifelong martial artists whose insatiable desire for knowledge has led them back to the 19th century, where they are discovering for themselves the early roots of Wing Chun. One, a martial legend whose legacy has long been secured. The other, a proud leader who feels a personal responsibility to give his students every bit of knowledge he possibly can. This is Wing Chun Unfiltered. This is Wing Chun without limits. This is Wing Chun Blast. Hey, what's up guys? It's Danny Horgan, and this is Wing Chun Blast. This truly is a special episode of the show. What you're about to see is Wing Chun as it was used on the battlefields of war centuries ago.
And then here, see? Here, for staff, see? All these. See? Here.
In order to fully understand the context of lethal techniques about to be shown, you first need to understand those techniques' history. Phil Romero is going to take us through that history, as well as his own personal journey which led him to those techniques. So tell us about your history in martial arts.
My history is about 40 years into it. I originally was born and raised in Los Angeles, and then my parents moved back to the state of New Mexico. And it is actually a state, not a country. Some people in the United States kind of wonder, like, what, you have to have a visa to go there? I'm like, no, it's a state. We moved there when I was 10, and I left when I was 19. So I was only there for about 8.5 years after I graduated high school. And so I landed up wanting to finish my studies in martial arts. I started training when I was 14 years old, and I took Northern Shaolin and also Tai Chi. And then I hung out with a lot of Kachikembo people, Emperados people, because in Albuquerque itself, there's actually a very strong community of martial arts. A lot of martial arts, I should say. It's always been like that, forever. And so I know a lot of the guys way back, and now we're a lot with UFC that's there. And so I basically was working myself into the film industry when I was about 16 years old, and worked in the movie laboratory. And so I had a couple opportunities to go to a few different places in the world to go study film if I wanted to, but I decided to go back to Los Angeles, where I came from. And at that time, I had read about Hawkins Cheung at that time, and I didn't know anything about Wing Chun because there were other people that had actually wanted to tell me to go study Wing Chun or Jeet Kune Do. And my first really interesting class that I ever took, I didn't like it. I hated it. Because you stand in posture, right? You're breathing. Qigong side. I didn't understand it. You're young, 15 years old. But it was over hamburger. And the thing was, I told the guys, what is it going to take for you to go to a class? I'm like, it takes me a lot of hamburger. So I went and I ate the burger and threw it in the back of the guy's car, and he got pissed off at me and told me that's the reason why you go to class. So you need to settle down. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. So basically, when I graduated high school, I landed up moving to Los Angeles and started to seek out some teachers, and I actually went to Santo School, and that's when he told me Hawkins is on the following night, come on in. So I ended up going and stayed ever since. I've been there ever since. And to this day, even though I live in New Mexico, I still go to the primary school, I still study with them, and I still have contact with them all the time.
So what was it like training with Hawkins Cheung for so many years?
With Hawkins, it's different. In the sense is that he's a very small man. Mm-hmm. He stands at 5'1", about 110 pounds. He's very different when it comes to actually doing things. He only gives you what you need. He doesn't give you everything that you think that you need. Mm-hmm. He'll take his time with you to the point where if you don't practice it and work it, then he's not going to deal with you. He'll give you something to do, but eventually you'll burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. And so it's a very slow process. At his stature and his height, his weight range, I've seen him take on countless numbers of people, much larger than him ever would be, in the 6-foot range, and some of them even the 7-foot range. And so one of the things that made me stay, that really kind of made it really different for me, was the day that he actually hit me and threw me over his back, and I landed up on the floor just completely dizzy and with a massive headache that probably had a concussion. Mm-hmm. And I just laid there for like 5 minutes and sat up against the wall. And when I went home, I didn't even go to work the next day, and I just said to myself, there's something wrong with this picture. He did something right, but there's something wrong with this picture. And that's what made me stay.
Right.
And ever since then, it's been a journey. He I've met the majority of the Ip Man generation in Hong Kong that have come through and crossed hands and trained with them, and they're all good in their own right, and they all have a lot to offer. And I've seen him cross hands with them, and as being as small as he is, I mean, it was kind of amazing to watch. So it was very dynamic, and it was very unique, and it gave me a lot of opportunity, a lot of insight to see other systems come through also that he either trained with or knew them and brought. So there was a big education all the time.
Right.
Like Robert Chu, for example, is my Kung Fu brother Phil Morris. You know, there's been videos and pictures of us out there. You know, a lot of celebrities have come through. Bruce's mom came through on numerous occasions and met with her and talked to her. The brothers and sisters, they come through. You know, I met them and I talked to them. And that was just something that was totally different from, say, for example, the Bruce Lee mentality that most people have. So it was very unique. You know? It was a learning curve for us, and to this day, the older guys still get together. We still, you know, we train at the old school. We get together with him, and we do a lot of things. So, you know, like you said, find your way. You need to find your way in this art, and you can do this. And that's what he really gave us, is the ability to find our way in this.
So in that same theme of finding your own way, you've done a lot of personal research into Wing Chun's true origins. Talk about some of your findings. What about Wing Chun do people today not realize?
Well, I think a lot of people actually try to speed it up, and they try to mimic, you know, the past icons that are out there. And the problem is that, you know, you have to be yourself. You have to find your way in this system, as I said earlier. And I've learned to find my way. I mean, I did Tai Chi first, and I did Northern Shaolin. You know, and although I didn't stay in the area that I was living as a kid, I moved on. But Hawkins gave me the tools to be able to find my way and to train through different other systems. Like, for example, you know, Swai Jiao and dog boxing, and also the Gecko boxing and the Swai Jiao arts. Also, I started studying some of the Qigong. When you're in New Mexico by yourself, the only, you know, Wing Chun guy in the deserts, you know. And you have the surrounding Four Corners areas, there's other Wing Chun guys around, but we're not close because it's just big states, they're huge. And so to travel, you know, sometimes at a distance and extreme weathers, etc.
Right.
And so you start doing a lot of study. And at the time when I started doing the studies on the internal side of the arts, there was no internet. It was basically word of mouth or books, whatever you could get. And so I started doing a lot of research. I started dialoguing with a lot of people at a distance on the telephone, way before even email was in the picture. And then I would go to schools and start training with people. And so I started to realize that, you know, what are the 5 elements? And as I started to really look at the 5 elements, I started to realize, wait a minute, there's a whole entire Qigong side, which is a medical side. And that's what caught my fascination. Because I had done enough fighting. Fighting was not it for me anymore. And fighting to me is just a no-brainer. It's easy. It's so easy for me that I just turned it off. And I started to look at the medical side, meridian flow, pathway flows, Jingwell points, you know, all these different dynamics, and how the body is actually geared and wired medically, you know, through meridian points, through health, kidney essence, heart essence, liver, on and on. So I started to go back to these arts and look at the forms and finding out how each movement actually will activate and open up a meridian point and actually open up certain parts of the body and start developing health. But then I started to realize there's another side of the coin, which is the Nigong side, or the iron body training, which you felt, which is my body's like extremely dense.
Yeah, yesterday I gave, he invited me to give an open palm to his back as hard as I possibly could. Hurt my palm, didn't face him at all. And that's 100% real. You know, I'm not just saying that, that's something I legitimately felt.
No, it's very tough, you know, and then as time went on, Albuquerque has a military base, so you get a lot of military guys that come in from Asia, or the Philippines. And there's one person in particular, Frank Rivera from the Chingwu out of Manila. He's a Hung Gar practitioner, and all his Hung Gar is actually all based on internal Qigong and Nigong sets, and it's very powerful. And so what I started to realize is that majority of the Wing Chun cannot take care of somebody on that level. Even, let's say, for example, Chao Gar Southern Mantis. Like there's a guy by the name of Manuel Rodriguez that's actually very well versed, and also the Samba Jin, Southern Mantis, very powerful. But the Wing Chun present day can't take care of those types of people because it's negated away from the Nigong side of the art and the Qigong side of the art. It's all more like a flapping hand type stuff. And so I started to realize more and more that what was missing, and started to train in the key components. And then we're now moving further up into 20 years of this whole thing. Now I'm starting to talk to Andrew Santos, SIfus Sergio, Jim Rosalando, and starting to look at these really 1850 on back to 1700 type Wing Chun. You know, as number one for me, because so much of the stuff I've done over the years is fighting. So to understand the battlefield art.
Right.
You know, imagine guys in battlefield armor. Are you going to kick it or are you going to punch it? I don't think so.
Right.
Right. So you have the other two options, which is the Chin on the Swai Jia. But the Qigong is a mother of the whole entire 4 different elements. And so they don't always encompass just only combat, they also encompass health and longevity, spirit, mind, Shin, those type of things. So, you know, it's a journey, it's a process. It's because as you get older, your body starts to break down, you don't have the same identity of longevity, you know, you don't have the dexterity anymore, you have to learn to work things at a smaller circle, and then you work, you know, from that perspective.
This is something that predates it, man. This isn't 1950s onward. This is well before that.
Yeah, we're talking 1800s, 1700s.
Yeah.
Think about things that happened, say, for example, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 900 AD. You know, you're in the environment outside like we are here. You're not, you know, boxed up into a house where we have, you know, flat screen TVs and, you know, you're totally dialed in. And,
right.
You know, because you've enabled your body to feel. You know, I mean, for example, they talk about the body, and it's well written and documented medically that the body has 3 brains, and so you're only using one brain, and it's the wrong part. Especially being cooped up in an environment that's basically just a concrete dwelling.
Your school is right down the street from Jackson's MMA, which is one of the most popular MMA gyms in the entire world. From what you've said here, it seems like mixed martial arts and Wing Chun, especially, you know, the healing side of the art, almost 2 entirely different worlds. Talk about that and the differences between the sport of mixed martial arts and what you teach and what you practice.
Well, you know, Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn have done it for years. You know, they're nice. They're very nice men. You know, I like them. They've done very well for themselves. Like, and their school, you know, they have a lot of the pro fighters. You know, those are sport fighters. Those are very, you know, top level, high level athletes. Like Diego Sanchez, you know, I know him and I know his family, and John Jones and Rashad Evans at the time when he was there. You know, they all come over. Clay Guda, I actually know Clay, you know, and they come in. Kevin Kroom is now up and coming. I've crossed hands with Kevin, you know, I'm training with him a little bit. You know, all these guys, I mean, we're totally respectful towards each other. We don't, you know, talk bad about each other, you know, because they come from, you know, traditional backgrounds themselves, and so they totally respect it. And they walk in, they see what, you know, all my stuff on there, like, wow, you studied with this guy, Mike, you know about it. So there's total respect there. You know, for Seattle, and I can't remember his name offhand, but this guy's big. I mean, really big. He's like 6'6", weighs like about 250. And he actually tried to get me at one point, and I lifted him up off the ground. And he actually stopped. He goes, "My God!" He goes, "You're like metal. You're like a little metal guy." And I started laughing. I said, "You know, heart's like tin, you know." Yeah. But he laughed and he says, "You know, yeah, after a while, he just said, nah, I'm done. This is way different than I'm ever used to." And he trained at the school, you know, with me. But you have to understand the differences between a traditional Chinese martial art or Indonesian or whatever type of art it may be. I don't care which one. Whether it's Japanese, Korean, Indonesian, Filipino, Chinese, whatever, okay? Even South American jungle arts, right? Those are actually those are really reality arts. I mean, this whole concept where people say, you know, oh, these reality arts, we teach reality arts. Well, living is reality to begin with, no matter what. Just walking, you know, in the open environment. Look at these people walking behind us. That's reality. Anything can happen. But you're creating something that's already been redone. It's like half-baked. So you have to really understand that you take not the cookie cutter version, you take the version and make it live, but just slow it down to understand how the action and the motion is done.
Maybe it says over at
And in sport, it's a little different because it has to be done by weight class, it has to be done by height and time ranges, etc. That's sport. And it doesn't have the same accolades like, say, for example, a battlefield art, where you got 10,000 guys and you're going to kiss your ass goodbye.
Right.
See?
Absolutely. And you talked about Wooden Dummy being a 360 tool originally.
Yeah, because, I mean, you know, Sergio even brought it up at one point in one of his videos, which was really cool. I mean, you know, if you put your hands out, that's 180, where you can actually see your peripheral, you know, from here to there. For me, it's right here. It's 180. But what about you put the two 180s, you know, together? It becomes a 360. So the reality is that, you know, people say, oh, I never give up my back. Well, in real life, you will give up your back. You know, in a classroom environment setting, it's a cookie cutter. they say, oh, I never give my back, but I can get around you and watch what happens. So the dummy actually itself, the Hong Kong version, was actually set up against the wall. And you can, like I said, to verify, you can go and look at what Sergio had put up on that one video, and you can look and you can see that the dummy is actually 360. It's posted in the ground, and they would walk around. The dummy stuff, you have all the older material. And it's all there. I mean, it's all there. It's been there for years. It's just that because of confinement of space in Hong Kong, they just put it up on the wall. Because space is, I've been in Asia many times now, and I go to Thailand quite a bit, and property space is expensive, and you're only limited to so much.
Right.
And now we're starting to see that in the United States. Most schools are held in garages and sometimes even in kitchens.
Right.
Yeah, so you become a garage martial artist nowadays. We're going back to that again. Yeah, because it's so expensive just to get retail space. So everything has to be confined to certain specific areas. So, the best advice I can give anybody is do your research and do your homework. And you will find your answers, what you're looking for, if you look hard enough. We have the internet now and has access to so many volumes of material that there's no reason, no excuses for it anymore. There's not. Because there's a saying that says it's not what you expect, it's what's expected of you.
Right.
And that's what's missing. Forward.
It's kind of like a plane taking a turn.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Yep.
There you go.
And dig into the skin too, I think you want to really,
So I'm gonna hit these pressure points.
Yep.
Yeah,
So.
because, see?
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is this one. So it's here, right? And this one.
Right.
See?
Yep. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah.
See?
Collapsing, yeah.
See that?
You're like really giving me some energy.
Yeah. It takes all my strength away. That's what it feels like. It's like two needles that I'm pushing against. The more I push, the more the needles dig into my arm. Yep.
There. In. There.
Yep.
Okay. So you hit the same way. Here. Okay, so here. Here. There.
It's off the higher, so I'm gonna.
Yep.
I use the leg, but I'll take the small to back this time. So from here.
There you go.
Yep. And that's the power there. It's so exact. This point right here. It's just overwhelming rush of pain. So I'm not even thinking about my root anymore. That's what makes it easy for him to take it.
It's here. This becomes here.
Yep.
Here. This way. And down. There. It's using the hand like this.
And then that cavity here.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So it's here. Here. This is now pressing up into there. So here.
Yeah.
There. Okay.
Yeah. So
this
with the neck.
Right. So by doing this, I'm putting pressure. Right. I almost don't need because I can take you there. But now once I do this, right, you're here. So.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 2 points of pressure.
Right.
As long as I get that, that's where I break your structure.
Yep.
Now, here's the pain compliance with the cavity and the pressure point.
It's over a little bit. There it is.
Yeah, right in the neck.
Right.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a very exact point, 'cause even like an inch off, I don't feel it anymore. It's right in this area right here.
So
That's where I feel it. Up here, it's fine. I can resist it.
here.
Yeah, in the cavity. Right.
Oh yeah.
So for example, here, this, here, and see?
Yep. So I'll even get a good root behind it.
So it's here, now.
It's a very subtle collapse. I can't even resist it. It's like a wave. It's not an overpowering thing. It's just everything's falling out from underneath me before I even realize it. Give it a shot.
So you're. So I'm attacking both of these at the same time.
Right.
So that gets the buckle.
Yep. There it goes.
And if you resist more, then I'll add the leg.
Right.
So if I get this, right, you're resisting. And you see this.
Yeah.
Here? There. It's bracelet.
Yep.
See? There. See?
Yeah.
See? Here. This way. Up. And over. Doesn't really matter.
Right.
So here, up, under. This way.
Yep.
I like the body.
Right. Right.
So everything's going to be used to turn and torque the body. So it's in.
Yep.
2. So the idea doesn't matter the height ranges. It's just knowing how to use the body. Because Jeff would come in, right? Time, Jeff?
Yep.
So you and Jeff. Jeff, you go in on Jeff. And Jeff stops the body. There it is.
You see, with this one I just step in this way.
Right.
So when I go down.
And in here, see? That's all you want to do.
Right.
You want to stop the body. So as you approach, you come in on it, right? And you can step in on it. Here. He uses it from there.
Right.
But since you have a jacket, what you want to do is you want to take the jacket this way. Okay? As you hit Jeff, you hit and then turn the body. Pull, see? To the point where you take it here, this way. Take it there.
Stop it.
Yeah. A little higher up on the neck. No, higher to choke him with the jacket. You want to choke him with the jacket.
And when I kind of like, I'll step on a foot and try to take you there.
Yeah.
So the idea is to say, for example, once this is here, hips here.
Right.
Yeah. See? Ready?
Yeah.
Ah, you hate that, huh?
You guys are up here in Boston, so a lot of part of the year guys are wearing jackets.
Right. Right.
So this is a good one that you use. I mean, use what's available in whatever element you are.
Right.
And down in Florida, not too many jackets, right?
Right.
But when you're in an area where the clothing is like this, you know, I'm going to use all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then just. So while you're struggling, next, right? That's
Right.
what sets up the hook.
I'm not thinking about my structure, and it goes down. I wear this jacket year round anyway.
It's very stylish.
Yeah, for example, like I have Jeff here and I have you here, right? And so, you know, once here and Jeff comes in, right? And the idea is to shut the energy off, change the energy lines. See? The point where you pull. Yeah,
It's that both.
see?
Right. No, that's the battlefield mentality.
Right.
That is a better one.
Right.
Because you have too many people. Because, you know, you think about it, right? How can you do like this? Right?
When someone's coming from behind you, yeah.
Totally, right?
It doesn't work.
So the idea is that when it's here, right? I'm here.
Right. I'm trying to get in. You're gonna.
Right. Oh, see? I'm going to pull and drop down, leverage. See? Change the line. Where it's this way. See? And then this way. See?
Very humbling, isn't it?
But again, this is just years and years of understanding the study, understanding what the concept of the battlefield mentality was like.
Right, right.
With different types of warriors and identities, right? So for example, Jeff's here with me, right? And as Jeff comes through, it's here. Then this, see? This churns. See? Here. Go. Okay? So there's, again, your Chin element. The other two that are missing is basically the punching and kicking. But the Qigong is a mother of it all.
Right.
Because you can't see that part.
Right.
So Jeff's here with me again, right? And as he comes through, then this is here. See? But now we change it to what's this. See? There. And down. See? And then press downward and over. Okay? So you have to really kind of understand the identity of what these things are, the characteristics of what they're, you know, how they evolve. But most people don't understand the evolvement. So they have to be attached to a physical thing. It's not, it's the idea, it's the concept. And so, say for example, I have you here with me, Danny, right? And as he starts to come through, it's boom, this way, stop. This way, see? This way, okay, this way. Keep you guys away.
Right.
Because I don't know what could be on the backside.
Right.
He has like this line that's back here. This line here. See this here. See? Yeah. See?
Yeah, I like that version better.
See that line?
That was better for me, 'cause with the height difference, I like attacking you low.
Right.
Here. These lines here. See, so this will change. This. Here. This. There. So sometimes you have to weave under the person.
One thing I noticed too, whenever I fall down, I'm in a completely defenseless position. It's not like I can pull guard or anything like that. The way I fall, none of my weapons are facing you.
We take that away. We take the fall away from you.
Right.
Like for example, in the modern versions, they're made to break fall. We take the fall away from you. Mm-hmm. Say for example, like in terrain, there's a rock. Who's going to smash you on the rock?
Yeah.
You know, take that away, right? Say for example, you know, the weapon might be here, so it goes under here, and then here. See, this way, and then down.
Yep.
And turn it. Or it's this way, and lock your head in place, and then take you and then throw you this way. But just to tear the arm out. So it's here, and this will hit up under. Once it hits, I slide down, boom, and take it down. Okay, and down. So I just take it down. So once it hits, boom, here, down, through, turn the bar, hit up on top, and it's the cut.
Yeah.
The cut down. There.
And you have the momentum going into that because your whole body's carrying.
Yeah, it's boom. You can,
Right.
yeah.
It's not just an arm punch. You're using your whole body behind that.
Yeah, you can feel that, and it stuns you
Yeah.
for a couple seconds. You're like trying to regain what you
Right.
lost. So, for example, like that.
Yeah.
And this. See?
Yeah. Right.
There.
I see stars and unicorns, right?
So that's what the identities of these arts are, because theoretically, body armor. You gonna kick and punch it? No.
So you see, a lot of guys will roll, and they have no forward pressure, right?
Yeah, they're just like this.
Yeah.
And then
I can disengage and do. But when I touch, I'm right. And I'm going to move too. A lot of guys don't even use any footwork in their chi sao, right? So but you go slow. So I want to feel what he's doing. I'm learning, right? I'm saying he's trying to uproot me, so I relax. I don't give him resistance to bite on, because the second I resist, right, and start turning into a muscle game, he's going to screw me. I'm going to get thrown, right? And remember, this is what, so I'm going to relax, right?
Right.
Control. Keep my structure.
Yeah.
You take strikes, you give strikes. You take them, but you take them in a way that you want to know where the center's at. So when you strike here, you want to feel that side. Pretty nice side. Same here.
That's it, you know.
I could do that, but
Right.
I don't want to.
And I feel it. Learn how to relax. You know, then we start talking about whole body relaxing and the 7 bows, right? Where am I getting my energy from? Right?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll protect you.
It's an even exchange back and forth.
Yeah, it's a flow.
And then creating forward momentum pressure. But if you angle, you don't turn and try to do this.
Yeah.
It's basically
Stay in the box. I'm staying rooted. I'm not lifting up to do that.
Right.
Because I know as soon as I do that, if he wants to, boom.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason for it.
Yeah, if we go arm to arm and I'm all force against Phil, watch what he does, right? I'll put all my muscle into it.
Yeah.
Going flying, you know?
One of the things we always say in Wing Chun, force doesn't meet force. But what does that mean?
Right.
Because your force didn't go anywhere, right? It's not like, oh, your force, I'm going to make it disappear. I have to learn how to turn that excess force into momentum.
You have to really think about this. Us as a group of martial artists, there are no walls. The only boundaries we have is that we be kind to each other and we work together with each other and not against and oppose each other. It doesn't matter what system you come from, we're all the same family. But these guys want to say that they have a better technique than the others. No, nobody does. It doesn't matter what level you're at. The highest level is actually the love and the understanding. That's really the highest level for all of us.
So Jeff, tell us about your history in martial arts.
Okay, started when I was about 17. There was a Tang Sudo school a couple miles from my house. Of course, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So Black Belt Theater every Saturday, man, watching all the Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies. It was just like, man, that was the thing to do. And of course, the height of Bruce Lee. So I actually got myself a yellow jumpsuit with the black stripe down the side. I know, I'm not the only one who had one, I'm sure, right? You're in my age group. And, there weren't any Kung Fu schools around, because I grew up in the Philly area, no Kung Fu schools around, so karate. And I tried to find the most obscure karate that I could, so Tang Sudo. I didn't know anybody was taking that. So I would put my jumpsuit on, jog to class, do my class, jog back, right? I was just living it. I did that for a few years, and just decided I got tired of breaking boards and doing katas, and it wasn't what I was looking for. So then it was a good friend of mine who I had known for a while, but didn't know that he did martial arts. He didn't really talk about it. And once I found out, we were really good friends, I kind of like, teach me something, but he didn't have a school, he didn't want to teach, and finally, through my persistence, he kind of said, yeah, I'll show you some stuff. And that's where my knowledge of China began. He was really big into locking, breaking, and stuff like that. Because his whole thing was, yeah, Jeff, you can find a big guy, he might be high or drunk, you can punch him. Some guy's got a really hard jaw. He doesn't even know he's hurt. Let him hear one of his bones break. And then he knows he's hurt. Changes everything. And this guy, I really, for the first time, saw what true martial character was about. This guy would give you the shirt off his back. Nicest guy you ever want to meet. Stone cold lethal. But didn't wear it on his sleeve. Like I said, I knew him for a while before I even found out that he did martial arts. So that was a turning point for me. Learned a lot of stuff from him. Then after that, things happened. He had some bad health, so I couldn't learn from him anymore. I wanted to do something, so I did kickboxing for a little while. At least it was something, just to keep myself busy. And that kind of, my interest in that waned, gave that up. And then I noticed in my area, Wing Chun Kung Fu. I'm like, where in the world did that come from? And, I was at a point in my life that said, oh my God, and Wing Chun, that's what I wanted. I always wanted to do this. When I sign up, I'm all in.
Yep.
So I drove by the school for a while, and I was like, I'm not ready. I'm raising a family. All this time's not right. And when that day came, I'm going in. And I went in, I met my SIfus, and heard what Wing Chun was about. Got to see it, and the fact that it was a thinking man's art. It wasn't, I'm going to just kick and punch, just trying to land something. I didn't want that. And I wanted something that wasn't based, I didn't need a lot of physical strength. I'm a small guy. So Wing Chun, I got in and said, man, I found what I was looking for. The guys in the school were great. It was a very different atmosphere than the other martial arts schools that I went to. Some, the master, very unapproachable, and I'm like, I didn't really want that. But what I liked about it is that it was a very family-oriented atmosphere. It was more than just, hey, we're coming here to learn martial arts. It's about being more. And that, again, reminded me of my first Kung Fu teacher, just the way he was. He was like, live a life of service. Like I said, give you the shirt off his back. So that's where my Wing Chun journey began. And I dove right in, training 4 or 5 days a week in the school. After, I'm like the first one there, the last one to go. Trained, I used to go home black and blue, man. My older book, boom, boom, we used to call Moy flowers, right? Take your shirt off and connect the dots, But I loved it, because I was learning something, and this is what I really wanted. And through that, as I grew and matured, went through the system, completed the system, one of the things we do is, as you learn, you also learn how to teach. So, you come in, you may be a couple months into the system, a new guy comes in, you show him, might be the form, might be pots out. So that solidifies in your mind that you can understand it and language it. So I can't teach you something if I don't really know it myself. And even if I don't get it right, that's how I sharpen my skills, sharpen my knowledge and understanding. So after doing this for a lot of years, I realized that I found my true passion in life, which was teaching martial arts. And a little over 4 years ago, I decided to open up my own school. Where I'm at, it's a little bit non-traditional. My older brother is a personal trainer, so we basically have like a gym atmosphere.
Right.
I'm kind of dedicated to whole health, getting you healthy, your body, the way you eat, martial arts, everything. And it started off by his female clients were asking, do you teach self-defense? And he goes, no, I don't, but my brother does Kung Fu. And so he approached me about the idea, and I actually started off doing a women's self-defense. And through that, some of those people wanted to really learn a full martial art, and it kind of just took over from there, and I haven't looked back since. I love teaching. It's my true passion in life, working with people. I love working with kids. I had a privilege last year to work with some kids from a local children's home. And these are kids that have, like, one story's worse than the next. And seeing the looks on their faces that an adult really cares about them.
Yeah.
And is showing them something. And I get a little emotional when I think about it because, the first time I gave this girl I gave her student handbook and told her how proud I was of her. She started to cry, These kids have just been through things you can't even imagine. And it was just one of those moments like, that's why I do this. And I just love it. There's just, I think about it all the time. I mean, I am consumed by martial arts. It's so much more than just fighting. It's really about who you are in your heart, in your mind. Do you give more than you take? It's an amazing experience. I've met some of the most quality, honorable people through martial arts than any other phase of my life. I mean, had it not been for martial arts, I would have never met you.
Yeah.
I would have never met guys like Phil, Jim Roselandro, Hendrik. I mean, even my Sifu and Qigong, my Kung Fu brothers. It's just something people that don't have it, you kind of almost feel sorry for them. It's amazing. It's like so much more than just fighting.
Right. You're a Sifu in the Moy Yat lineage. What characteristics do you feel define that lineage, which is definitely one of the most respected within Wing Chun?
I'll give you a list of three things that I think. First, I would say that, again, it's about having a family atmosphere and enjoying what we call Kung Fu life. So, again, it's not just, my Sifu, this guy, I pay you some money, you show me a bag of tricks. At the end of the, our relationship is confined to the Kung. It's really like about building relationships and showing respect for others, learning how to live a life of service. And one of the things I even tell my students is that having healthy relationships in life is probably one of the most difficult things you'll ever do. And if your relationships in life or in the school are messed up, it will reflect in your Kung Fu. And at first people say, oh yeah, even myself, right? But it really is true. What goes on in here comes out here.
Right.
It really does. So just the whole Kung Fu life aspect, you don't see that in a lot of schools. There's, like I said, some places are more like, I have a gym membership. Hey, I'm going to go in, instead of lifting weights, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do some drills and play some King Sao. That's it. But that's one of the, I think, the strong points of the Moy Yat family is that. Second, I would say just really understanding the concept of the center line. Mm-hmm. Right? And how it's one of those things, center line, right? It sounds simple, but it's almost like peeling an onion. Mm-hmm. To really understand it, that I can see the line, control the line, send a lethal amount of energy down that line, and how everything ties into it. It's so easy to get caught up in just rumbling, right?
Right.
And your Wing Chun goes right out the window, and then you think center line, right? So simple, but it's so easy to lose that. Mm-hmm. So just the way that they stress the understanding of the center line really helps you to kind of stay focused and put everything in perspective. The third thing I would say is that we say that really is only one technique, and that is the center line.
Yep.
Many methods of getting there. Mm-hmm. So we learn to identify the condition which dictates the method. We don't try to ram a method down somebody's throat. And you see that a lot too. It's like, oh, I learned this cool technique, or, you know, I want to do Quan style, right?
Yeah.
Right? But really, that's not right. What tells you to make a Bong style?
Energy.
Right? So yeah, so I should be punching at you, and this pressure will tell you to roll that off into a Bong style.
Right.
I don't try to catch a punch with a Bong style.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really learning to be sensitive, train your sensitivity, train your martial attributes, and learn to interpret the condition, which then the method will come, rather than the other way around. And also that it's not a school where I just, oh, where's my technique of the day? Here's one. Oh, here's another technique, right? Because eventually you're going to run out of techniques. Mm-hmm. And then you have all these techniques, but there's no methodology on how to use them. And then that's when you see people just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, because I just know a bunch of techniques.
Right.
I don't know what's the application, the proper application. Mm-hmm. So I would say those are the three big things that I would take away from being in the Moy Yat.
You've been on a personal journey of sorts to go beyond just what you know in Wing Chun, to go deeper into history. What have been your findings so far?
Wow. As time went on, I realized that where's the training of the body, the health side of it. Also, looking at the different things, you know, Ti Da Shui Na. There has to be some level of throwing art in there. There has to be some level of joint locking. And not only knowing those disciplines, but you understand the relationship, because one is used to counteract the other. Just like you'll see the 5 elements, really, and how, you know, iron chops wood and water puts out fire and so on and so forth. The same thing applies to those skill sets. So I kind of tell my students, it's like I have a car and a steering wheel. If I'm missing one of those pieces, I'm either missing the steering wheel or I'm driving around with flat tires. You know, the kicking and punching part, pretty easy. People get that.
Right.
But the throwing, the locking, the health, you know, training my body. You know, there's 2 parts if you go back. There's the body art and then there's the application. If you go back before 1850, those 2 things were really present. But after that, the body part got stripped out. So we're very application-oriented now. And there's just the whole piece that's missing. And some will even tell you, that's not part of Wing Chun. That's some other stuff. No, go back and, I tell people, do your research. Mm-hmm. Question everything that you're being learned. Just because where you are, they didn't teach you that, doesn't mean if you go back far enough, and don't be afraid to go back beyond Ip Man. You know, that's not where Wing Chun was created.
Right.
Go back, see what was really in the system. It's crucial. And when you do, you just start to see all this other stuff. Like we talked about earlier, it's kind of like this box. And there's something in that box. But some people are afraid to open that box, because once I open that box and I see what's in there, now I'm kind of committed to learning this other stuff. Where I may have been doing Wing Chun 10, 20, 30 years, and I find all this stuff that I'm not doing. And so there are a lot of people who just, they'll close the box or throw it away.
Right.
I can't do that.
It's gonna be humbling.
Yeah.
To open
It really, trust me, I've emptied my cup and put my white belt on many times. You know, I'm studying, and the reason why I'm up here in Boston, you know, learning more Qigong. You know, I need to get better. You know, it's part of what I know I need to do. So you can never let your ego get in the way of progress.
Right.
Easy to say, sometimes very tough to do. But if you want to grow, a lot of times your ego creates that glass ceiling for you, and you've got to just. Some people can't do it. You know, I'm not wired that way. I don't mind being humbled, humiliated, or whatever like that, as long as I'm learning.
Right.
You know, that doesn't scare me. What scares me is looking my students in the face, in my mind, knowing there's more to what I should be teaching them, but I don't want to be embarrassed in front of them, and I'm shortchanging my students. I can't do that. I can't sleep at night if I did that. So to me, I take being a SIfus very, very seriously.
Yeah.
It means two things: master, but that's the same as like a master, a plumber, or a carpenter. It also means father. And that denotes a relationship, a very serious relationship. You know, I want to give my Kung Fu children everything I have. I have no secrets. There's no, pay me a few extra $1,000 and I'll give you the good stuff.
Right.
I teach everything I know. I don't need to take to the grave with me, that's stupid. But it also puts a responsibility on me to always hone my skills. I'm out on the floor, bleeding, sweating, you know, learning with my students, growing with them, building that relationship. It's extremely, extremely important. So, you know, it's that zeal that has taken me to continue to research. You know, and you see what guys like Jim Roslando have put out there. Hendrik Santo, Sifu Sergio has done tons of research. You know, you look at all that stuff, and I just can't turn a blind eye to it. It's literally changed my outlook on Wing Chun. Wing Chun is an amazing system. It's so powerful. Health, mind, martial arts skill. I haven't found anything like it if you have all the pieces.
Security is alright.